Okay, now.
This is the webinar.
Yeah. See how it's there you go.
You guys were in this microphone.
Yes.
Got a little spring in it, you know?
Yes.
But I always think.
I know, we should have Mr.
So I did this.
So I guess I'm just gonna have to let it go and not do what I wanted to do. I can't.
Where do you live in this apartment? I don't know the street name, so I just drove into this apartment, like those street, go right around.
Right, and we're across that street, we just cross that.
Oh, it's dark.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That was nice, it was already time. It's good to get it. We wanted to be-
You know, it's not gonna be nice. And then we go. Well, that's,
We'll give them probably another 5 minutes or so.
So, yeah.
I mean, they know about the meeting. Ah,
He goes down there.
there we go.
Just a little more flexible schedule. And, so it's what he likes. And a little bit like it needs to be the rock box, but, hey, it was set. But now it's starting to do a little more into stuff.
Well, this is gonna pull up. So you
So
have
it's
one.
cool.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I just broke the jacket out today.
His thing was he always wanted to have a horse. He liked to travel, so it's kind of like, so, yeah, if you ever want some of the markup stuff, call him.
Oh, well, it'll just have to be what it is. Say what? Oh, no, there was something I wanted to try on the meeting. I was gonna see if it would work. I had a setting I was gonna do. And we had the computer guy over to the office yesterday to do something to this. And when he did, my settings all disappeared. And now I'm like, oh no, what I wanted to do, I can't figure it out. So it'll just have to be next time. Well, nobody better come up here because this is such,
Like a lot of people, you know.
this got confused. What we have. So you could at least go ahead and start then when it's up here. That's all you only need 3 people when it's a 5-member quorum. You only need 3. I'll find it. I'll find it for you. What do you have? Meeting needs.
You crashed that one.
we can't vote on
But
it.
it's just.
A board is free.
I know,
Oh, yeah.
it's 3 at the top, so it's half a quorum, so it's start.
Hold on, Robert. Just be able to get it to myself.
I did, that's okay.
I was here.
Yeah, you were here. Ready? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I responded like an hour. Oh,
So.
Real quick, if you have not signed into the sign-in sheet, please do so.
Okay. First time is 6:37 and call to order the November meeting of planning zoning Virgin Town. Committee members present are.
Ken Peterson,
Marty Wallace,
Wiley,
Angelia Glazier.
thanks. And the public is signing on the sign sheet, is that right, Crystal?
Yes.
Right, so we have small meeting today. Welcome to the public. Thanks for coming. Let's start with conflict of interest declaration of that from the committee members. Do you have any conflict of interest?
No.
We're declaring that now.
no
No for
conflict.
me.
No.
No.
Okay. No conflict of interest, Crystal. So, our first item will address the regular meeting is review and possible approval of draft minutes. Right? From October 12th, I was not there, so I don't have anything to,
I did look at them
yes,
earlier today. Thought everything was okay.
okay.
Didn't see any problem.
Okay, so can I have a motion on this?
I moved to adopt the minutes of October 12th, 2022.
We have a motion. And that's second by Walker. And we want to vote on that? Okay.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
It's unanimous. Okay, thanks. Let's see. Commissioner comments. Lady and gentlemen, and I guess ladies. Do we have comments today? Do you have anything for us, Ken?
Trying to think of something profound.
Do.
I'll start with Angelia and then.
Okay.
Then I'll have time.
Ladies first.
I don't have anything.
No comments.
No.
No comments?
No.
Okay. Did you think of anything profound yet, Ken?
No comment at this time.
No comment this time. Okay. My only comments are, that I think were really important. Well, first of all, thank you for covering for me last week, last month when my mom got sick. I appreciate that. I just think we're at a really important time for our town, and I just, it was kind of heavy on me this last couple of weeks, so I hope that, I just think our job's important, and I hope we all, kind of, at least for me, I was telling myself I need to keep figuring out a little bit more. And we can address some of the things that the town seems pretty worried about right now. So it's kind of my only comment. I do want to put forward, I can do it in the work meeting too, I guess, but I want to look at some hiking trails and paths and things like that
Don't know, has anybody had anybody come to them on that? Because I've had a couple of people come to me about that. Is that something you're looking at?
Did you say hiking trails?
Hiking trails and paths to connect the town to different areas.
I've heard people say it, but not in the last couple months.
So that, and I think we've got a short-term rental, an overnight rental issue that's really loud right now. Does anybody else have any? What other things are really loud? Why?
That's pretty much all we've heard about that.
Well, I'll tell you what's that.
What's loud?
So I assume that most of us got a letter from the Hurricane Valley Fire Department talking about tax increases proposals.
Mhm,
And it was pretty shocking to me
mhm.
that the amount of tax increase that they're proposing. And Diane says, well, you better go down and say something. I said, no, I have too much to say at planning and zoning.
But I do think it's important that we're thinking about that as a community.
And the one thing that we talked about, my wife and I, was how important it is that we have fire protection and safety and ambulances and things like that, and how important it is that we support that as we grow and the need for it to grow along with it. And certainly part of that is tourism that affects it and affects safety of the roads and ambulance needs and fire truck needs and rescue needs. But certainly something that we as citizens have a responsibility to talk about our taxes and the appropriateness. It shocked me at some of the increases in costs that the fire department is looking at and is forced to spend. They detailed it to as much as bandages
Right.
and equipment. So something to think about as citizens and talk about our feelings and how important it is to be involved in our comments to the Hurricane Valley Fire Department and how it affects us in all ways, not just our pocketbook.
No, thank you. The mayor talked about at the meeting at the town meeting, water was a big issue for some of the meetings she's been going to. And the only reason I bring this up is because this whole discussion point is I feel like as a committee, one of the things that's been hard for me is I don't feel like I always know what we're focused on. And I guess I just put in a little pitch here for us to maybe communicate a little better with our meetings and maybe be a little more proactive, a little more attuned to what's going on in the community in a way that can put us out in front of some issues. Because I would love to see the conflict in our town go way down and, you know, the needs met better. Do you have any issues that you want us to be aware of now that I, push on you a little?
Not really.
Okay. He's an all business guy, which we like. Okay. And you good too?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. So it's open forum right now for those who have attended and have something to say. 2 minutes each if you have something, please.
Not on the agenda. It's not on the agenda.
What it says right here.
No, I'm saying they can't talk about what's on the agenda.
Yes. I'm gonna put it-
Lonnie Lutz, I don't know your name.
Kent Peterson.
Great. Did you notice on that tax proposal for the Hurricane Valley Special Services District for Fire? Did you notice they tried to really grab our attention at the top with bandages going up 300%? Oxygen
I think it
tanks,
was 500.
that was 300, believe
Was
I'm
it?
going to be. And then the oxygen was up by 50%. Helmets were up by 50%. And then way down at the bottom was really the reason that they need this. Because of new residents and tourism needing new facilities and new equipment. So isn't that an impact fee you should pay for? We should be pissed. You know, because what they're doing is they're showing the big numbers. It's called hyperbole. Okay, they're showing this up here and that's sleight of hand. You should always be looking what the other hand's doing. Oh, and by the way, down here is the real reason because we've mismanaged the money.
And we don't charge tourism the true cost of tourism. So we want existing residents to pay for the new people coming in, when impact fees and taxes on tourism should actually pay those bills. So I would encourage you to go to that meeting. You know, I mean, a 100% increase. And, you know, from $330 to 600 and change, you know, and it says right at the top, inflation was 29% during that period. Let me think, yeah, I do have a physics degree. So 29% inflation, 200% tax increase. Fuzzy math, anybody? I mean, I would encourage all four of you to go. You know, I mean, that carries a little weight, especially when county officials go. You know, and I mean, they're counting on us not to, you know, and then just get, you know, put through. And I guess they don't vote on it, do they? I mean, the people ultimately we don't have a chance to vote. But anyways, I would actually go. You know, I mean, if enough people go there and voice their opinion, you know, I mean, I think that's important.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I have something to say.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
In
great.
response to Monty's
Okay, I gotta
comment.
set a timer, man, 2 minutes.
So I will try and keep it to 2 minutes. I have spoken with the fire chief over time, and I know that they have asked the county commissioners for more money and they will not give it to them. And they need to build more stations, they need to hire more firefighters. They have a lot of expansion that's necessary, given everything, as we said, with all the tourists and how many people have been moving here, and they can't get the money, so they've got to get it somewhere. And I agree with you, maybe it should be impact fees as opposed to a tax increase, but if the county commissioners won't give them the money, they've got to find it somewhere. And as they said, they've had more calls, that it's like double the amount of calls we used to have. And in fact, one of our EMTs here in town, been there a long time. I just assumed he was still working with the fire department as an EMT, and I called him about something. He said, "Oh, I don't do that anymore." I'm like, "Since when?" And so they lost him. So they need more people. That's what that's about.
Absolutely.
Monty's right when he says, down here at the bottom of the things, what it's really about. So
I know this issue, excuse me, is complex.
Yeah.
This is not simple, and it's not just about this past year, it's about the past 25 years. And how we have promoted and managed tourism and growth and water and everything else, and it's getting heated and passionate, and passions are high.
one last thing, sorry, this just crossed my mind. With the drought and things being so dry, we really do need the firefighters.
Yeah, we know that.
All right, is that, we have any further, open forum comments? Please, can I get a motion?
I think just going on what we were talking about earlier on how we can help the town, that's a
Yeah.
good point on how we can help residents pay if there is a tax increase, like how we can just help keep residents making money, you know, to balance out the higher taxes. Yes, we have the tourism that's already come in, and now we're getting the higher taxes potentially. How can we just help residents
Right.
continue to make money? Guess that's just my
So-
comment on it.
Oh, right, so as when we're considering policy and stuff, keep that in mind when we do that, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I get a motion? Okay. Public hearing, tell me, Crystal. We just need a motion.
You need a motion to close the public meeting, open the public hearing.
Yep, that's what we need.
Let's try it. Make
Right.
a motion to close the open forum and open the public hearing.
Close. So I got a motion, to close the public meeting and open the public hearing. Got a second? A second from Wyatt.
Do we usually close the open forum with the motion?
No, it was an open forum, this is just the meeting, now we're going into, here, just read your script.
Yeah, just read it. Motion to close the public meeting and open the public hearing.
Hearing, which I clarified.
Oh,
So, got a second?
but
from you?
that's not what we're doing.
That's what
It is what
We're not closing the public meeting.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
we are.
because you're open a public hearing. You're on number 4. Motion to close the public meeting, open the public hearing.
Then we can do our business, because we can't do our business.
And the
Then need to have a vote on that?
Everybody, agree?
So moved.
So moved. That, I think that, just so you know, Yeah. Okay.
Robin, will you aye or you not?
I said aye. Yeah, that means aye. Okay, so now I need another, we're gonna continue, so if it's continued, Crystal, how do I state that? That we're gonna continue the public hearing from October 12th, right?
Just read it exactly what it says. This is the public hearing, so you guys aren't going to talk about it. This is any comments from the
Right.
public want to talk about what's on it.
Right.
So,
So, I only see 1, 2. Anybody? Do
So,
we have
A, they're
any-
continuing a public
As part of our public hearing, does anyone have anything?
Are we on A or B right
we're
now?
like.
We are at A, and so we're taking comments on the proposed subdivision preliminary plat for Mesa subdivision. However, I have a letter.
Yes,
I
yes,
have-
you'll need to read that.
But shall I take comment first?
Yeah, you can take comment.
If there's anyone here that has a comment, if not, I have a letter here from Jeff Lee, who has asked to be
And
excused.
you don't want to do that during yours because that is,
what?
she'll need to read that for hers. So they don't need to talk about certain people.
So when is she gonna read it?
She can read it, but I'm saying you're gonna have to, when you do your motion for it, you'll table it.
Correct, but, yes. Okay. So I have a letter here from Jeff Lee, stating that he's not here and that he won't be here, and asking if we can, push his hearing, as he says, to next month. So I'd like to make a motion that we, push, item A, the proposed subdivision preliminary plat, preliminary subdivision from Jeff Lee, located at B2126 or 421, until the next meeting.
So you do that,
In the public meeting.
moving to number 6.
Oh.
We were just taking public comment, right?
That's what I was saying.
Oh, Megan, thank you.
It takes a while to get it down.
Well, the color code's out in here on this one. So then we need item B then. Crystal, you're gonna tell me what to do, you gotta always tell me what
Yes.
to do.
So we're on B now, right?
We're on B and you're up,
Okay, great, Lonnie, let's go.
and then it's done.
So I just have a couple of questions here. So we're redoing a bunch of definitions here. So hotel and motel I don't know if you guys know the flow of lodging in the commercial side. So first it was just hotels. And
No,
hotels went into the commercial zone and gas stations with 60-foot setbacks anywhere that was adjacent to existing residential. So what are the setbacks on these?
what, you're asking me what the setbacks are?
Okay, yeah, let's go
Is that
over
up for you?
what would the setbacks be? Let's see, if somebody wanted to put a hotel, a motel, or short-term rentals next to existing residential, what would the setbacks be?
You're asking me what it should be, what I'm looking at. Right, the code, or do you want to just make your point?
No, I'm asking, I need clarification.
So that's not gonna be in this, that'll be in the ordinance themselves. So the whole reason that they're going through here is trying to take out ordinance or legislation within the definitions. So that the legislation is just in the ordinance and not in the
So you're
definition.
just referring to this, why it's.
No, okay, I'm asking, what would the setback of short-term rental units be under this definition if they were to go next to existing rural residential? A hotel or a gas station is 60 feet. So what would short-term rentals? Would that be 60 feet?
It's not defined, that's what you're saying, right? It's not defined in this.
Well, I'm asking, you guys,
I don't know.
you submit information, so I'm asking what it would be.
I'm gonna make a guess.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't know yourself.
What's that? No, no. That's why I'm asking. I don't ask questions. I know the answer, but I'm not.
I would say it's the same as residential,
10 feet.
whatever residential is.
We better.
Really, guys?
Well, that's where most short-term rentals are
So the
going
point
to
is,
be.
you can't
But
guess.
we're totally redefining what a short-term rental is here. A short-term rental by that definition is the state of Utah's definition, which is a residential home used for, so it's already built to the residential setback.
So.
This is allowing, for instance, short-term rentals, which are little cabin sort of things.
Right.
So that's not an existing residential home on a 10-foot setback. So if that was gonna be done from scratch, it would be a 10-foot setback.
Okay, so keep going, with your comments.
That's a question,
It's a
and I need an
question.
answer.
Well,
Now, you guys, let me explain.
I can't do that.
This is public comment, so in this section, the public can comment, you guys can take notes, you do not
That's right.
engage with them, you do not answer their
That's
right.
questions,
so How do we,
Make
so
your comment.
how do I get an answer?
So here's what.
They should answer that during their public meeting that you brought up.
Okay. Oh, okay,
Yeah, so that's
perfect.
why I said,
Thank you.
give me all your questions and
Okay.
comments, and then write it down. and we'll talk.
And then for short-term rentals, I don't see anything in here that it says on a permanent foundation. So that could be an Airstream trailer with the wheels off of it on a piece of concrete. That's a mobile home or an RV park, in my opinion. So there's no protection there. There's no protection from anything with canvas, TVs, yurts, whatever you want to call them. You know, I mean, it's, we've had somebody, the county did away with short-term rentals, so they built short-term rentals up Paris Road by calling them dispersed hotels. Okay, so people are always gonna find a way, so I wonder why we can't actually, in short-term rentals, say what's not allowed. Let's be specific, you know, I mean, because basically Utah is, it's allowed if it's not specifically disallowed. I mean, I've heard that said in this room a lot of times by different people. So maybe you can protect existing residents. You know, we've had Mission Creek, we've had hotels, you know, which, okay, the hotels were considered okay if they're a certain square footage and there's a setback of 60 feet. There should be, in my opinion, some sort of hard setbacks, like 30, 40 feet. If you're putting a tourist lodging next to somebody's existing home, you know, we were there first. And I don't just mean me, because I'm surrounded on three sides by commercial now that's been rezoned, but other people too, you know, and these types of short-term rentals can be just as disruptive. Matter of fact, even more so if a lot of the activity is forced outside because they're small. So I do think existing residents should, you know, something in that definition should say, you know, this isn't allowed. This is, you know, excluding yurts, excluding TVs, excluding trailers, and also a permanent foundation. That's kind of ambiguous too. Is that, you know, wood? Is it concrete? Is it like a regular home on a concrete foundation, a crawl space? You know, so I mean, because I mean, there's some really creative people out there. I could get a hold of that, and I could, you know, I could have covered wagons, you know, and that's not a short term. I mean, by the definition. So anyways, I think you guys should give that a lot of serious thought to protect existing residents. Thank you. I'm sorry, I didn't understand the flow that you couldn't answer me,
Yeah.
and so I didn't
It's
get
okay,
confirmation.
it's okay.
Go ahead, no, you should make that.
Hi, my name is Pat Galvez. This is all new to me, but I guess I'll just bring it to your attention and you can answer me in your session if that's how this works. The boarding house, it has a confusing line there. It says occupied by permanent resident may provide lodging for less or more than 30 days. I don't understand what less or more means in 30 days. The other ones make sense. But my main point, I'm not as up to speed as Monty is here, but it looks like lodging used to be defined as hotels, motels, and other lodging. Now you're trying to be a little bit more definite with a boarding house, a bunkhouse, and a hotel. But there's been a term going on around here, short-term rentals, and you refer to that. I don't know where that fits in here, but I think that should be something It's added to
It's
his
on the next,
volume.
it's on.
Oh,
the
the
next
next
page.
slide, I'm sorry.
It's on the next page.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I'm just concerned about that one because the first we talked about a permanent resident on site or except the face and clerk at the hotel. So I'll read that for a while. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Beth.
Okay. So this is adding these terms for short-term rental unit, but meanwhile, we already have a definition of short-term rental unit in the code.
Yes.
And this does not show that they're changing the short-term rental unit definition. They should have the original and the proposed, and they don't, and that's very, very important. If you look at what it says right now. And it also says right now, short-term rental, when you look at the definition of a short-term rental, not a short-term rental unit, but a short-term rental, it says what cannot be a short-term rental. And if this goes through, everything can be a short-term rental. Everything in town, even a tent can be a short-term rental. Also, the word short-term rental unit, one of my complaints about changing definitions that happens when you change a definition, you need to look where in the code it talks about the definition. I found just in one chapter, 30 references to the word short-term unit in one chapter. So before you go voting on this, it behooves everybody on planning commission to go through Hulu and look where it is and see how it changes. Because this definition versus the way short-term unit is rented in this chapter it just eviscerates this chapter. So it behooves you guys to look at it closely, very closely.
So Mayor Jean,
You can.
can I ask a question?
No, you're not supposed to ask a question.
Okay, I'm asking a
No, you can't.
You can ask me a question, but I'm not gonna respond.
question.
Just wait, you can ask that.
You can ask it at the other, okay. I think I'm the last one.
Rebel. You rebel.
Sure.
Okay, if there's no one else, can I get a motion to close the public hearing? Of the public meeting?
Make a motion to close the public meeting or hearing.
Second?
Motion by Wyatt, second by Ken.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Unanimous. Okay. So now, regarding item A, I'd like to make a motion that based on the request of Jeff Lee, that we can continue, I suppose, the public hearing. Let me say this right. Just look back then. We continue public hearing from October 12th into the December meeting for Jeff Lee's proposed subdivision preliminary plat, Quail Mesa subdivision located V2-1-26-4421, which is south of Rio East Zion. That we address that in that December meeting.
I'll make a motion, unless there's any discussion.
Is there any discussion? And I just made the motion. so I just-
Second.
You make that?
I made the motion.
I'll second.
Thanks. Any discussion? Okay. Now let's vote.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
no love. You get to do this next week. Okay, so item B, I like the speed of this meeting. Let's get it done. Okay, so item B is to discuss and recommend or recommendation to approve or deny amending chapter 16.22 standards for condition by, I don't know if that's right, by use, but should get use.
I haven't answered Lonnie's question
Yes, please.
about setbacks.
Yes, thank you.
So in the commercial in chapter 40.14 of VULU, it has the minimum setbacks. So from SR9, minimum setback is 25 feet in the commercial zone. From other zones is 40 feet, front is 20 feet, side is 10 feet, and rear is 20 feet. Setbacks may be reduced to a distance of 10 feet with informed written consent of property owners and recorded with the deed of said properties.
So, can I ask a question about that? Is that for clarification?
Sure.
I want to be a little later.
Yeah.
So, Monty lots, so how do we determine front and back? Obviously,
So that'd be from the property line.
but which, okay, for instance, let's say, where so it would be from the side. So can you read them one more time?
So
But it's,
front, so from the front of the property line is 20 feet. Side is 10 feet and rear is 20 feet.
You can find that in the code. Just look
Yeah.
right at it.
well,
You
we
can find
were, the thing, like, I've been talking with Cameron about this,
Right.
Gene.
Yeah.
And Cameron has said that he said he would like to see, somewhere a buffer of 30 to 40 feet.
Right.
From
So, and
existing
this-
residential.
And so if your house is still considered residential, it would have to be at least 40 feet. Because it's 40, it has to be a 40-foot setback from the other buildings. Does that make sense? So like,
I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to be.
no,
being
Well,
so like,
I'm confused.
if the church, so if your house is residential
Right,
and that property right in front of your house is commercial,
right,
they would have to have a 40-foot setback from your house because it's a different zone.
okay.
Does that make sense?
And we can't really have the back and forth.
What's that?
We can't really do the back and forth like this, but so the rest of the
Oh,
questions.
that's fine. You're fine.
We're not supposed to.
Well, just, you answered, you addressed your question.
I did, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So I heard 10 foot, so I latched on to that, for the like,
Well, yeah,
like triple advantage prices.
got it, okay, thanks. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks. So did anyone have any other comments to what Monty said? Because he did bring up a lot of questions. And I think what we are trying to do is make the language and the definitions in the short-term rental section clear and consistent with the rest of the code. I mean, that's kind of the problem, the big problem that we're trying to address. All of this, right?
And I'm happy, I'm open to listening, because the problem I'm having is ignorance and not understanding some of the reasons for change, what we're trying to do. And three of the people who are really important to that, Gene Garati and Cameron and Sean, are not here tonight. And I rely on all of them, as well as the mayor and other people, to help me understand the code and why we're trying to make changes and update definitions.
Right.
And I wish I had Wyatt in my back of my brain so that I could look up all these things and understand them. And I'm really glad that he's on the new committee
Well,
that the mayor formed. So what I'm trying to get to and all that is, I've really looked hard at some of this, trying to figure out, like Monty has, exactly why we are trying to affect changes. I can easily see some of the things that are missing, or some of the things that I wonder why they're there. I wonder why boarding house and bunkhouse is even there. And I think I mentioned, a month ago, that it seemed a little bit like a John Wayne movie to me. And so I want to just say that coming to this, I'm certainly not prepared to discuss it and try and pass it forward. I very much want to have the three members that, so Gene Garati,
Yeah.
what do we call him?
Showing
Administrator.
You want the,
Zoning administrator and Cameron and Sean. And I want to find out why we're trying to do it, why we're trying to update these, why we even have some of them on the definition. I don't think we're anywhere close.
So-
I can answer that.
I
Okay,
can,
So-
go ahead.
are we still in the public hearing or did we close?
No,
We
we're
closed
not.
that.
Now we're,
What?
No.
No, anyways, no, we're
So
having
can-
our meeting now.
the,
We're discussing the items, so we're.
the reason that, this has come up is because of this, development that's going up Co-op Road next to the tent, right? So,
Right.
so
one,
the one that's going up next to under campus.
So let me just interrupt you. if I
Okay,
can.
okay.
So to, just to be, the general problem is that our ordinances are not specific enough to add. Ambiguity is always a problem with the law. You need clear, concise language in all our ordinances, and we don't have that. We're not consistent throughout, throughout our different ordinances. They often contradict each other, which we're working on to fix. That's one of the reasons we're addressing this. The other thing is, there needs to be clarification, our definitions need to be specific enough that it covers the basis with whatever comes up, right? You haven't had a lot of questions, too many questions left over. The problem is, what we don't want to do is we don't want to be a body that sort of does like reactive legislating, because that's not really in the best interest of people. What we want to do, I think, as a committee, is make sure we have clarity and the right language and what we want and need as a town, representative of the town in place, so that when questions come and when people are designing or developing or building, whatever they're doing, that the answers are already there. And I think as a committee, that really needs to be our goal,
I agree.
is that we can get out in front of this. So
So
the
really,
reason
want-
it's coming
I
up
want-
is we haven't done it, and the reason, and we want to be, but we also want to be careful not to use our meetings to be, our job isn't to deal with specific issues, it's to make the rules for every issue. So I just want to put that out there. Okay.
they're just trying to get out in front of it with these definitions, so that when someone comes in with a new development that they want to put in, that they can't say, oh, well, this is what we're doing. We're not doing short-term rentals, we're doing above count, like, they're just trying to make specific definitions so that people can't try and skirt it.
That's what I understood from Gene Carrara,
Right.
was that he wanted to get ahead of it, and I agree with that. You say what instigated this was something new happening up by.
So that's where we, I think as a committee, we need to direct that. We need to concentrate on not reacting to what's.
But I think that's an important issue,
It's important,
because
yeah.
it shows us that, like, if you're looking around at things that are happening in the county, that's gonna come in.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so I was gonna make the point, that's in the county, but that they're thinking about it coming here and being presented to us in a similar fashion. And they're seeing those kinds of issues with the county and how, and maybe the struggles with the county. And so let's get ahead of it. Am I right on that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you were saying that you don't feel like you have enough information right now to make it.
No, I think there's a lot of questions about how we worded this. I don't know if we touched all the bases that Wyatt is specifically addressing here, which is, I don't think we got everything down to jump in and say, okay, let's recommend this to the commission for law. I don't think we're there.
So in VULU, under short-term rental, the definition is an entire residential dwelling used as a short-term rental for any period less than 30 consecutive days.
Yes, that's,
Right.
which was brought up, yes.
Regardless. So notwithstanding the definition of dwelling unit within this section, boarding houses, lodging houses, motels, hotels, motels, tents, travel trailers. So basically, it lists off a bunch of stuff that aren't covered under the
Yes,
short-term
that's
rental definition. So that's why this has come up to
So-
define those things.
And I feel like in the meetings, 19?
It's your choice.
Okay, well, since it's my choice, Monty, what, state name?
I had asked the question specifically, and that's a great point, you just brought up things that aren't called out, but when that was written, we didn't have covered wagons.
That's right.
Right,
When that was written, we didn't have yurts.
right.
When that was written, we didn't have the canvas awesome glamper things that they have, like, wildflower and that. And this doesn't address that. we still have
Right.
that gray area, and and kind of the way things are written, the gray area goes to the developer.
Right?
So that was kind of the answer I was looking for, and I mean, you've kind of mentioned the same thing, so, clarification, or else, it's gonna be a dispersed hotel. Because I mean, that's what I would, if I was a developer, I'd just figure out something else to call it, right? But, yeah, remember the.
And I heard the zoning administrator saying what you're saying. I heard him saying, I want to get ahead of this. Okay, and I hope he's on the point to that.
Well, it's easy to clarify this.
And I don't quite feel it's clarified enough to for us to pass it.
Okay, so I think, do you have anything?
I guess I'm just trying to think of how we could make that work as a short-term rental definition. So I'm just,
Right,
I guess
so-
I'm just looking at it and trying.
So,
I'm just
yeah,
thinking.
did we address the comment, did we address your comment satisfactorily? Sure.
On
You,
the less than
His-
30 or more,
His was just a wording.
just the wording on the boarding house where it said 30 days more or less, whatever, that one, right? What?
it could be anytime.
Okay, right, so, all right, so our job right now is to discuss and make recommendations to approve or deny this. And what I'm hearing from all this is that we can clearly see the work that needs to be done.
I'm not sure why it's, why it not be.
Lisa,
Is it
Make a
just the
motion.
short-term rental that everyone has questions on right now?
so the whole.
I think 1622.
1622. And we have we dodged a bullet with a bunch of definitions from Sean tonight too, so, but the combination of that is a whole problem that we need to look at because they are intertwined, shall we say.
Can I make a recommendation to what we made?
You could make a motion and that would be cool.
I like that. I'd like to make a motion
Yes,
that, that we move this forward to, do we have a meeting in December?
well, moving forward, you mean,
Yeah.
You're saying table.
That we postpone,
Table.
well, I
that we table,
is table the correct word?
Yes.
Is continue is the correct word, yes.
okay,
That we continue this,
continue this discussion with, the full, planning and zoning commission, at the next meeting in December to detail more of the definitions and discuss more of, the need for, updating this particular.
you mean like have a work meeting, so your motion is that
I
we continue this
propose it
and
being
have a work
meeting.
meeting
That's excellent. That's exactly where I want to go.
in December,
Make motion
okay?
that this be
So I
worked
have a
out.
question with that, because I know I'm. an
So I need
alternate.
to get a second on that, and then we can discuss it,
Okay.
or? Do I have a second on, restate your motion,
Restate it, or are you kidding?
just, I'm thinking you'll condense it to something we can write down, go ahead.
So I'm basically going to restate a motion to move, table
No,
this to
continue.
the next,
Continue, okay,
work session.
okay. So I'm gonna help with the wording on that, we have a motion here to continue, item, B to the next meeting and also to discuss this item in a separate work meeting.
Yes.
Correct?
I've got that Kent made the motion to continue the discussion to the December meeting as a work session. Maybe you guys need to work on it more now. Is that what you're wanting?
Yes,
But it has to be separate, right? We have to take action on it and then set a work meeting, correct? No, okay, well, whatever she said, then you're gonna second.
Second.
No, it's not a first second.
No, it's a question I can ask after.
Well, because now if you second it, then I should say any discussion.
I guess my own clarification, is that
Second.
second?
Yeah, Second, so she's trying to get a clarification. She's
Okay,
getting
go ahead.
clarification. Okay.
Sorry, as an alternate and still learning everything, with tabling this, does that mean we don't talk about any of the definitions until the next work meeting, and then we have to submit everything.
Okay,
Yeah.
no.
No?
And we aren't gonna keep, we're not tabling it, that's a different thing.
So-
Continuing.
so I don't-
Hang on, we loosely, we're gonna continue it, which means,
Right,
Push it
so,
to the
okay,
next.
so even still continuing it, does that mean this cannot be voted on until January?
The way that it's proposed.
the way that it's proposed, yeah. But
Okay.
depending on what we get done in the work meeting next time, we'll,
But the earliest would be January, because we have to submit it all again. for the
That's right.
January meeting.
I understand the
Hang on,
frustration.
hang on, whoa,
I
whoa, whoa.
understand why,
Okay, now I know, just hang on, let's finish this.
We can never allow this.
Yeah,
We'll allow
it's
it. No.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just, it's more just for my
So,
learning.
okay, because you seconded that motion, now we have to vote on
Right,
it, okay, so,
So I
and
have, I have a
then we
comment.
have, in discussion, we have,
When-
so you finished yours,
I have
right?
a comment on that.
Now it's discussion, right, is that right?
So I don't think that we should. I don't think that we should table or send it to a work meeting. I think that we should keep it in the public hearing.
That's what I was trying to say.
Okay, so do your vote.
Okay.
Wait,
You just
we're not done with the discussion yet, Crystal, chill.
Yeah, I'm done.
Any more discussion, any further discussion?
yeah, I was gonna say that I really relate to this pushing it back into 2023 and spending the next 60 or 90 days or longer trying to get this done. And I understand we're limited to how often we meet, but I think that's the frustration that I kind of hear in Angelia's voice of moving it on forward. And I wonder why we can't have some kind of a work session before our next meeting in December.
We can't. Can't, that's just not something that's happened in this committee, so that's a good point, so if that's your point,
Yes,
we can talk about that some more, okay. Let's vote on this, and then if we, so,
yes. That, what you're asking my
Yeah.
motion?
so your
Is there
motion,
any amendment?
we're voting on the, you want to amend it?
No,
Let's vote on this. I'm gonna say no on your motion because I'd like them separate. I'd like this to be continued to, as an agenda item and to set a work meeting.
No.
Okay, so that does not pass. We got no, right?
So I make a motion that we table this to the next public hearing, so that we can discuss it and vote on it when the rest of the council is here, or commission is here.
Continue.
Okay, tell them.
Okay, we'll work. Have a second? Any discussions? Okay,
yes,
yes,
Yes.
yes.
okay, that's unanimous. vote. Good job, look at that, first time in a row. Okay, I would like to make sure we have a work meeting on this, so. Just, I don't think we have to formally vote on that, I just want to know if you guys consider putting that on our, as a work meeting, will everyone show up?
Can I show up as an alternate?
Yes, you can always show, you can show up every meeting,
Why not these meetings? I just didn't know.
You can show up to everything, but the work meetings can often be four, but if I can get Cameron to schedule an actual session, that has to be publicly posted, so I'll just have to pursue on that.
I think we should work on that.
The next week beforehand, I think so. But
I
that's
think
something
it
we
would be
can't
great.
communicate.
Just not more than two of us at a time.
Let's just use the rules that we have for the committee and make sure. we
Guys,
communicate.
your meeting is already pretty stacked for December, so I would suggest that you do this in the work meeting prior to your meetings. You don't know it, but I know the work meeting is stacked.
Isn't that?
The
one of
work meeting is
issues?
stacked?
No, not your work meeting, sorry, your meeting next week, month is pretty stacked. You don't know, but I'm just saying, because I've done a lot of stuff.
I'm
We
just
can always,
But you can do it in your work
We can
meeting
do
we
it.
prior.
can, yeah, we can look
And
at
you
it.
can make your work meeting longer too. And you can do an hour work meeting like council does.
So maybe come prepared with any questions you have to the work meeting.
We already voted, so it's gonna be on the agenda anyway. We'll decide what we're gonna do about it. Okay. Um. Does anybody have any comments? Do we have any other commissioner comments for the state of ed? No, no,
Make a motion that we close the public meeting. Adjourn the public meeting.
adjourn the public meeting, do I have a second on that?
Second. Yes, second.
Yep, and voting?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes.
okay, we adjourned. Yes, yes. Thank you guys for the comments, that was really helpful, appreciate that.
I thought it was like staying.